Hey there everyone, this is Michael Dougal. I review nootropics, and you're going to learn about the 5 best nootropics at helping you with fatigue. So if you're somebody that's waking up feeling more physically tired than usual, and during the daytime you're finding it difficult to be productive, then you're definitely going to appreciate this video because I'm providing you with a variety of options. We've got herbal nootropics, stimulants, as well as amino acids. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. And let's get into the very first nootropic, and this would by far be my favorite. It's a nootropic supplement called rhodiola rosea, which is actually a naturally occurring product. This is herbal, and I definitely consider it the most effective herb when it comes to energy levels. And it's interesting because while a lot of herbal nootropics are good at things like calming you down or helping you get to sleep, rhodiola rosea is actually a supplement which provides you with a ton of energy. It really fights off fatigue. I like to describe it as taking a nap in a pill because that's what it feels like in terms of using rhodiola rosea, and you suddenly feel clear-minded, refreshed, ready to go about the day. And while you wouldn't consider it to be a stimulant because stimulants will typically work on your neurotransmitters in a different way that herbal nootropics do, rhodiola rosea definitely has stimulating effects. I definitely wouldn't take it before bed because once you ingest it, you definitely feel it. You feel alert. It stimulates your appetite to some extent, and it makes it very useful if you're somebody that's looking to just be more productive. Even if you're somebody that doesn't have chronically low energy levels and you're just looking for a nootropic supplement to help you get 10 to 20% more work done every single day, rhodiola rosea is a great option. And I especially like the fact that when I'm using rhodiola rosea, I definitely feel in a better mood. So I don't personally recommend using this supplement first thing in the morning or before bed. I find it the most effective in the middle of the day, just when I'm starting to feel a bit tired. Although, of course, because this is a video for those who may suffer with chronic fatigue, you may want to consider using rhodiola rosea at a serving size of 500 milligrams. Use it twice a day, and you may want to consider using it sometime in the morning as well as the early afternoon. And if you have decent energy levels, but you want that extra energy boost, then I would consider using rhodiola rosea like I do. That's sometime in the early afternoon and then again in the late afternoon. You'll likely find it most effective when you take it in a fasted state, but individuals would as well see results if they're ingesting it with a meal. The second nootropic supplement is dynamine, which has actually become very popular as an alternative to caffeine. So this is a stimulant now, but the major reason why individuals wouldn't use caffeine is because caffeine is associated with a lot of side effects, including the jittery feeling, the energy crash, of course, having anxiety. So you like that with dynamine, you can have a similar serving size, like around 100 milligrams of the supplement, and what you should notice is an energy boost without having some of those side effects that you would typically get with caffeine. And this is definitely going to be useful when it comes to physical energy. I will admit that caffeine I really enjoy because of the fact that not only do I get the physical energy boost, but I also feel somewhat euphoric when I use caffeine. So dynamine doesn't have those kind of effects with mood. So there are pros, there are cons with dynamine. It's a bit more expensive, but I like the fact that I just get that physical energy boost when I don't need something that could stimulate me mentally. Like sometimes I'm already really energized, I'm already very alert, and so I wouldn't want something like caffeine because it would just take me over the top. Dynamine is something a bit more mellow. You wouldn't use it every single day like you would with some other nootropic supplements. It's more like a supplement to use for a little bit of a pick-me-up. And that's also one of the bad things about dynamine, is that this is not going to be any sort of solution to whatever chronic fatigue you're facing. It's more just like a supplement that you can use if you need a temporary energy boost. So definitely avoid taking it before bed. It's a stimulant. It's going to keep you up, but you would want to consider using dynamine at 100 milligrams per serving once to twice a day. And that's just depending on how you're feeling and when you need that physical energy boost. And while it is an alternative to caffeine, it's also a much more expensive alternative, which is probably why it's not a very frequently discussed nootropic. The third nootropic supplement is l-tyrosine. This is an amino acid that's found in chicken breast. It's found in egg whites, but the magic happens when you take l-tyrosine free form, exclusive of other calories, because when you ingest l-tyrosine by itself, you feel alert, you have a ton of focus, you definitely feel more motivated. When it comes to pursuing a specific goal, you definitely don't want to have lower dopamine levels. That's the one issue with l-tyrosine, is that it increases your dopamine levels, which may actually to some extent imbalance your neurotransmitters, which is why I've discussed using l-tyrosine along with 5-HTP in this video over here. But I've personally been using l-tyrosine almost every single day for the past 8 to 10 years, and I've only felt benefits. I've not really experienced any negative side effects from it. I do notice that when I use l-tyrosine, I feel a slight anxiety, but it's nothing too extreme. And the way I was actually introduced to l-tyrosine was I couldn't help but notice that it was in every pre-workout formula out there. And pre-workout products are, of course, designed for the sole purpose of helping you have more energy. And I love the fact that when I would use a pre-workout supplement, I would not only have more physical energy, but the following few hours afterwards, I always felt so much more focused, so much more productive. And with time and deconstructing a lot of the different pre-workout products, there was one ingredient that I found pretty much responsible for doing that, and that was l-tyrosine. And you're typically going to find it in a capsule serving of 500 to 750 milligrams. If you're using l-tyrosine as a pre-workout supplement, you can get away with taking a little bit more, like 1 gram to 1.5 grams. But if you're using l-tyrosine for physical energy and to helping you with fatigue, then I would consider using l-tyrosine at a serving size of 750 milligrams twice a day, once in the morning and once again sometime in the afternoon. You can have it with the meal, but I think that's kind of taking away a lot of the power from l-tyrosine. For me, I kind of understand why people would use l-tyrosine with a meal, you may as well just have some chicken instead, because l-tyrosine is just so effective in a fasted state. So I'm pretty much only using it either first thing in the morning or waiting a couple of hours after a meal and then having my serving of l-tyrosine. The fourth nootropic supplement, and this is going to be somewhat controversial, it's ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is known as the king of herbs. It's an adaptogen. It's a supplement that's designed to help you tolerate more stress. And the reason I feel like ashwagandha may actually help individuals is because ashwagandha kind of works differently than the other alternatives here, is that the other alternatives are kind of temporary solutions. Like, you may get lucky with rhodiola rosea if you use it every single day. There are anecdotes of people actually feeling much better even without the supplement following a few weeks. But with ashwagandha, it's different because it kind of hits like the root of the problem. Most individuals notice that when they use ashwagandha, it takes a bit of time for it to start working. Now, I wouldn't say this is necessarily a physical energy booster, but it's interesting in that there's some research showing that it can in fact increase thyroid levels, increase testosterone levels, and do some interesting things with your hormones that could make it such that you would actually feel more energetic after using ashwagandha for 1, perhaps 2 weeks. And this actually really surprised me that there's quite a few anecdotes out there about individuals using ashwagandha and feeling more energetic and more alert after consistent use of the product. For me, I use ashwagandha for a completely different purpose, and that's for helping me achieve more calmness during the day, feeling in a much better mood. I find that when I use ashwagandha, I can tolerate much more stress during the day. Because of that, it's a lot easier to be an entrepreneur, because as an entrepreneur, we're dealing with rejection. There's so many things happening at once, and thanks to ashwagandha, I'm still able to be rational. I can still have patience for people, situations, and whatever comes up during the day. And be one with ashwagandha, because more people these days actually just talk about the side effects versus the benefits of ashwagandha. The side effects being apathy, complacency, low energy, demotivation. That's very common. So ashwagandha is like the alternative I would use if the other 4 alternatives don't work for you. And the way you would use ashwagandha is using one of the extracts. That's what I generally like the most. I prefer the KSM 66 extract of ashwagandha. I've talked more about the different extracts in this video over here, at a serving size of 300 to 500 milligrams twice a day. And you ideally want to space out your servings about 8 hours apart. So something like the late morning and then the early evening. And the 5th nootropic supplement is one of my favorites. That's phenylprastam. This is a nootropic supplement you would not want to use on consecutive days. It's more like a nootropic you would take once, perhaps twice a week, because what's going to happen is once you ingest phenylprastam, you have more physical energy, and it doesn't just last a few hours, it actually lasts the whole day, and sometimes it lasts even longer. So phenylprastam can really mess with your sleep. So definitely do your research on phenylprastam. I've talked more about it in this video over here. And the way that I would ingest phenylprastam is by taking 70 milligrams up to 100 milligrams first thing in the morning. And it's the closest thing to feeling like an extended release caffeine. And that also means, of course, you have very similar side effects that you would have with caffeine, like anxiety, headaches are very common, but I get so much done when I use phenylprastam. So say if it's a day when I know I have a lot of work to do, but I just don't have the energy for it, then it's a perfect situation in which I would use phenylprastam, because you get the physical energy and you're also able to do all kinds of tasks. So when it comes to like socializing with people, I find that phenylprastam works great. My word recall is good. I even find myself being more articulate than typically. And at the same time, let's say if you're doing some work by yourself and you're behind the computer and you're independent, phenylprastam is also great. You'll find that you don't have to take breaks as often. Multitasking or task switching is a whole lot easier when you're using phenylprastam. And that's one of the indications that you know you shouldn't be using this nootropic every single day, because it's strong. You don't feel fatigued. I personally feel like a bit of a superhero when I'm using phenylprastam, because I could just like keep on going. Things aren't tiring me out, especially in the later portion of the day. That's typically when you feel physically tired, mentally tired, but not when you're using phenylprastam. And that's one of the reasons why I prefer not taking it that often, because of the fact that it does mess with my sleep, and it will cause insomnia because of the fact that you're alert when you're trying to get to bed. So don't use phenylprastam if you know you have to wake up early the following day. You kind of has that hangover effect. And as I'm describing this nootropic, it sounds perfect, but trust me, it's not. Especially socially, very often you'll use it and you just won't have the patience for anyone. So before using any of these alternatives, make sure to get your sleep right. Consider getting your blood test done. If you did find the video informative, then make sure to subscribe. Drop a like if you want to see more content like this. And if you want to chat with me one-on-one, you can consider messaging me on Patreon. And be sure to visit our Discord server. We have a 24/7 chat room. We're having a whole lot of fun. Thank you for your support and look forward to seeing you next time.